Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Atheist says that there is no evidence for the existence of God. Now, the question itself is demanding that either everything needs to have an evidence or everything or extra everything either requires evidence or there are some things which are self evident. For example, the universe exists. From where does this universe came from? Is the question. Does the science answer this question? The answer is no. So this is an obvious question that who is the creator of universe? Now the atheist does not like this question. The atheist they say that there is no evidence for the existence of God, but they actually believe in unobservable universe. When we ask them question that okay, you say there is no evidence for the existence of God, and although we have provided much evidence for the existence of God, but you say that all those evidence are actually claims. Now my question to them is, if all the evidence which is provided by the theist are just claims, then I feel that whatever you people are saying or whatever the science is saying are also claim. Because you know what is the difference between religion and science? They say that God cannot be demonstrated, but the science can be demonstrated. I would rather disagree with that, because there are many things which cannot be demonstrated by the science, because science actually deals with matter. So anything which is beyond matter, it cannot be treated as science. It is beyond the scope of science. So coming back to the question that what is the evidence for the existence of God, I think that everything which exists in this universe actually testifies to the existence of a higher creator, because everything is given testimony that it has been created by is created. For example, if you see a painting, you will realize that there is a painter. You will not ask evidence for the existence of the painter. The painting itself proves that someone has painted it. The question right now is not who is God. The question right now is that what is the evidence for the existence of God. So I say that the biggest evidence for the existence of God is the universe itself, because universe is nothing but matter. And if you say matter and energy, of course, if you say that the life actually belongs to only the matter and energy, so the main question which comes with the science cannot answer is that how can you have life with something which is non-living? Non-living things cannot have life on its own. So how does one can transition from non-living to a living thing, a living being? How can we have a transition from a non-living to a living being? This is the first question. The second question which can be asked is that how can something intellectual come from something which is not intellectual? This is the second question which we would like to ask atheist, that how can life come from something which is non-living? You say that there is no God. Fine. So let's assume there is no evidence for the existence of God, or there is no God, whatever you would like to call. So how come there is life from something which is non-living? And how can something uh, intellectual be in this universe from something which is a random process according to you, or an accident. So how can something intellectual happen, and after that can we trust our intellect? That is the question. If you say that we need to ask evidence for the existence of God, a person can even ask you a counter question: what is the evidence for the our existence of our intellect? Because intellect is not something. Okay, someone can say that you can measure intellect, but then I would say that how do you know that thing which you are measuring is intellect and not something else? So these question itself are false question, which does not lead us to anywhere. So it is very simple. It is not a rocket science that the evidence of God around you are not rocket science. It is just common sense. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that, have you seen the sun and moon, the day and night? These are the signs of God. If you just type signs of God in the Quran, you will see that so common things, so many common physical phenomena of nature that we see every day. These things are actually signs of God. But the problem with the atheist is that they are not accepting the evidence. The problem is not that there is no evidence for the existence of God. The problem is, even if there are evidences for the existence of God, the atheist will not accept it because they have decided not to accept it. So uh, any evidence presented to the atheist are actually futile, because whatever you will present to the atheist, and they will say that it's a claim and it's not an evidence. That's the problem with the very premise, and that's the problem with the atheist and atheism. Common sense does not require evidence. Something which is self evidence does not require evidence. Otherwise, everything will be requiring evidence, even your own paternity. So I think, I believe that every atheist should now have a DNA test done to prove their paternity to their fathers, because they are very obsessed with the evidence. So they need to prove that their father, whom they claim to be father, is are their biological father. Why are they not doing that? And if any atheist is offended by this kind of demand from the theist, then we theists are also offended when you ask questions which are so obvious.